let me set this up very briefly, and we're going to pause it a few times. So stay with us. This is a very popular and viral TikTok, and this is a real sentiment. I want you to understand something. We're not about to show you this and destroy and criticize and belittle the sentiment. We will take issue with some things factually, but understand, and I want to set this up properly, there are millions and millions of Americans, George, who feel the way that this gentleman feels. So take this with a shaker of salt and understand this is why we do what we do here at Ramsey Solutions. Let's roll the video.
If you're making less than $25 an hour right now, you should be terrified. If you are making less than 25, you're going to be very pissed off by the time we get to the end of this video.
All right, pause.
This information here is going to scare the shit out of you.
All right, pause. First of all, okay, what he just said there is not true. You'll be fine if you're making $25 an hour.
We don't go viral on TikTok without some fear-mongering, Ken.
Boy, scare the whoop out of you, he said.
You're not going to sleep tonight if you make less than $25 an hour.
Okay, this is absolute nonsense, but a lot of people feel this way. All right, now, George will tell you how we can do this later. Let's keep going.
I just spent some time looking at some monthly averages of regular costs of living all across the U.S., average costs. And I put them all in a spreadsheet and did all the math for you so you can see exactly what this big picture is here. So these are just normal expenses that most single consumers have, and this is all of them laid out national average right here. The average cost of an apartment is $1,659 a month. With groceries, you're going to spend $500 on that, and you go down a list here. But add all that up, you're looking at $3,285 a month just in your cost of living expenses, which means to break even.
Pause. Now, George, I'm going to let you step in here, but I pointed this out on my show. We're already a little bit out of whack here when you look at just the average vehicle payment. The average used car payment is just a shade under $700 a month.
Insane.
So we're not even working with real numbers here. All right, and then let's just point out that what if you didn't have that car payment? How far would that go, George?
1,000%. Well, one of the reasons people don't have margin is because they are living with payments, giving all of their hard-earned money to lenders every month, and they think, well, this is the path. This is how I get financial freedom. This is what success looks like. But we teach no debt, pay for things with cash, get reasonable used cars. And so this is a big part of the picture of why there's no margin in this person's budget.
That's right. And that's why I pointed this out, America. He's saying you can't make enough. This whole video is if you should be making way more than $25 an hour, which, by the way, I'm for that. That's what I spend a lot of my time doing, helping people make really good money. But to say that the man is keeping you down when we don't even have the car payment correctly put in this budget. And people think that that's just something they've got to carry around. So, all right, let's keep rolling.
And just squeeze by paycheck to paycheck, you have to be making $3,285 every 4 weeks. So this is calculated at your monthly income at a 40-hour work week, so it's your hourly rate times 160 hours for 4 weeks in a month. Because I don't believe anybody should have to work more than a 40-hour week just to survive. Now this tax column represents how much you'd be paying each month in taxes after you add up all your withholdings. I figured this out by looking at my pay stubs from the last time I was an employee about 6 years ago. So you got your gross income, you got your net income after you pay this tax, which would go in this column. I didn't fill it all in. The first time you see a number higher than this number is at $25 an hour. And it could even get worse than that because chances are you're going to be paying more than 16% in total withholdings. Add anything like child support or alimony to that and forget about it. So this leaves you with very limited options. You either have to kill yourself working way, way too many hours, or you've got to figure out a way to make a ton of money.
Pause.
And also keep in
Pause. Sorry, there's the
Love
false
those two
narrative.
options, Ken.
All right, George, that's what I wanted you to weigh in on, because I weighed on this on my show. But this is a false choice.
Well,
Kill yourself.
Most people lose hope because they back themselves into a corner and decide there's only two choices, Ken. Either kill myself working jobs I hate, or that's it. That's it. This is the only path.
Yeah, so you looked at the spreadsheet. There's no advice in this TikTok about controlling spending.
No. So
what issues do you have?
If you're just listening, you're not seeing the spreadsheet, but outlined here, the first number is rent at $1,659, which he claims is the average rent in the U.S. I don't buy that. Now, if you're on the coast, you're in some higher cost of living cities, yes. But let me tell you, Ken, if this is based on a single person, let's say a single young guy.
Right.
That's kind of who he's talking to in this video. Well, I was not living by myself in a nice apartment when I was a single young guy in my entry-level job. I had a roommate. You might have multiple roommates. And so to be paying $1,659 is insane. I would say, well, time to get a roommate. That cuts your rent down to $825, and it just gave you $800 in margin back in your life. Now let's pay off that car because you're paying $400 a month towards that car payment, or you sell the car. That's an extra $400 back in our life. Now look what happens, Ken. We have an extra $1,200 of margin that we can breathe.
Hey, don't forget the streaming.
afford.
He's got $37 down for streaming,
And
which
we
you
can cut
don't
the
have to
subscriptions
have.
down. Yes.
You
And
know.
so there are ways to trim the budget. The question are, what are you willing to do? Because don't tell me you can't. Don't tell me you can't get a roommate. Just say you're unwilling to get a roommate. And this is for a short period of time we're sacrificing. Number one, Ken would say, well, we can help you get your income up.
That's right.
If you don't have enough to make ends meet because of your cost of living, and by the way, $40,000 can go a long way in Idaho, and it may not go a long way in LA.
And there's the other part of the narrative. So the one is kill yourself working crazy amounts of hours, or go have to make more money. Like, that's a bad thing. The way it's positioned is like, or get a job where you make more money. Oh, like, have to bust it. I can't quiet quit, right? I got. Instead of quiet quitting, how about some gritty greatness, George?
Ooh.
How about that?
That's a new one
Well,
for me.
nobody's talking about that.
Well,
you know?
Ken, we know this, and we're confident about it because we meet people every day, Main Street folks who come to our debt-free stage, and guess what? For a short period of time, they worked extra. They worked more than
Crazy.
40 hours a week. They worked 60 hours a week because they wanted to sacrifice for a short time instead of being in pain for a long time, which is where most of America finds themselves, living in mediocrity for 20 years because they don't want to sacrifice for 2, which, by the way, is the average amount of time it takes for our folks to get out of debt.
I'm going to tell you where this kind of, and again, a lot of people feel this. I get it. But when it's positioned as though you are a victim, and this video, whether meant to be made this way or not, is all about making the person who watched this video feel like a victim, as opposed to saying, wait a second, you don't have to accept this. This isn't some sentence. This may be a season of your life, but it's not a life sentence. The hamster wheel is not your miserable plot that somebody more powerful than you has bestowed upon you.
Yeah. And it,
Where's the
it starts
rugged
with
individualism?
believing that it can be different, and then actions that lead you towards freedom long term. And that's exactly what we do. We have a solution. We're not just trying to rile you up about the problem. We want to show you a way out, show you hope, instead of these hope stealers out there telling you it's everyone else's problem and you're not the solution. This is The Ramsey Show.